friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church, here with Sydney Erickson, Pastor Holly Daisy, Nick Offolter, Pastor Roger Deerdorf. Tonight's topic is, what 3 questions would you most like to ask God? But before we start, this is the first time all 5 of us have been in the room in 2 weeks. Because we took 1 week off because we had some illnesses. And then last week you weren't here. So it feels kind of funny. Like we haven't seen each other in a little while.
Yes.
So we're all back. Holly's not feeling well tonight.
She probably shouldn't be here.
Probably shouldn't be here. Right. But that's okay. She's going to power through.
Drove with vertigo.
Drove with vertigo. Yeah. Yeah. We'll warn everybody on our way home so they can stay off the streets till she gets there. Yeah. Goodness gracious.
We'll let you leave first.
Yeah. Yeah. You pull out of the parking lot and then we'll all go the opposite direction. Oh, goodness. Okay. So what 3 questions would you most like to ask God? Nobody has any questions.
Nick?
Well, you know, those questions could change from day to day depending on where you're at and what you're doing and what you're thinking about, what your mood is. Me being the history buff, I'm sure there'd be, you know, I'd want to know, be something in there I'd want to know that we just haven't found out yet. You know, who killed General Reynolds at Gettysburg, you know. Or, you know, who killed Kennedy? Or,
That's I was going to go with that one.
Are aliens real?
Yeah, it's just one of those big questions that, you know, you're just dying to know.
Yeah.
But I think probably the number one question would be, you know, what is my true purpose?
Oh, that's a good one.
To
That's
know,
what I thought, too.
to know, you know, to hear him tell you exactly, okay, here's why you're on earth. Here's your true purpose in life. That'd be the number one for me.
Oh, you took a different angle than I did.
Okay.
So my angle was like, when I get to heaven, what's the first question that I'm going to ask?
That
like,
was
that was my mind.
Oh, no.
You're talking like I want to ask today.
Yeah. I don't want to wait.
Yeah, well, and I agree, because I was thinking, like, when I get there, all the questions that I ask aren't going to really be important at that point.
Yeah.
But still some things you want to know because you didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even like that came across my mind, what Nick was saying, like, the purpose. But I've known people that have, you know, passed away at 24, 25 years old. And I'm like, I wonder like what their purpose was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just always, it's intriguing. So
that's a great one. I was telling everybody in the room before we started, and Beth knows the young man that I'm talking about. So my wife's nephew, my nephew, had an accident at work, not his fault. And it was a pretty traumatizing accident. It was pretty bad. And he struggled at birth as well. And it just so happened that Beth happened to be the nurse that took care of him. Like, now, what were the odds that that connection would happen? So she was telling me, so he struggled really badly at birth. And so now at 19 years old is in a traumatic accident. Well, last night they took the vent out. He was fine. Like, they were worried about how it was going to go. Went fine. This morning he fed himself. He's talking. He recognizes people. Like, amazing miracle. So now that question begs to be asked, what is his purpose?
yeah.
Because twice in his life he has been like in a
a
serious
cat with
struggle.
9 lives.
Like,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he's used 2 of those 9. So, but the funny of that is that when Beth and I were talking and she told me that she was one of the nurses that had helped care for him when he was a baby, I shared that with his dad, and his dad was like, it's amazing that they're not churchgoers. So let's be super clear about that. They're not churchgoers. When they decided that, when I told them that, they were like, this is like, it's not by chance that those things would happen. And so although they can't be here on Sundays right now because they're at the hospital, they were like, how do we, like, can we watch online? What can we do to get those messages? So we're going to start
about the podcast.
Yeah. We're going to start figuring out a way to get the audio to them each week.
Just
so
when we ended live stream.
Which
but
I don't regret that decision, because I think that it was the season that we were in, but being able to give them the information that they need. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting conversation about purpose. Yeah. Roger?
Well, you know, you think about all the drugs. When God made it, He made everything. You know, He makes the sunshine. He makes the darkness. He's made all of the trees, the flowers, the mushrooms. I mean, he's made everything.
The frogs and toads.
Yeah,
Even those.
but why did he make all of these drugs that are out there now? I mean, I'm sure he made them all for a purpose, but it was for good.
Well,
not to be used and abused.
So I think that's where it gets fun, because you can also say now that the enemy has control over the world as well. So
Right.
all of those things will eventually work together for his good. But and it's the beautiful part of this, the conversation that we're having, is we don't know that answer.
Right.
We don't understand it fully. My big one was, why do bad things happen to good people? So, like Pastor Holly sitting here with vertigo. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why do those things happen to good people?
But like you were saying last week, it's not, he's not the one that's doing it, but he will turn it for good.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So go to the book of Job.
Yeah.
And all of those things are answered right there, but it's hard to recognize and understand why every day do we go through these things? Like, at what point are we no longer being treated like Job? So,
Well, I think to answer Roger's question, I think, like with drugs, God made everything for good. But like drugs and a lot of things we have in this world, those are not in their natural state.
Right.
You're mixing a lot of different things, and you're
Yeah.
doing a lot of different things to create this drug, and that's human
that's when us
beings
stupid human
doing
beings
those
jump
things.
in and
We're coming up with that recipe, not God.
yeah.
Right.
So all of those things that are in that drug, they're all good. They do have a good purpose,
Yeah.
and we might not know what those
just
things are
abuse it.
because most likely we're not trying to figure out what that is. So we're putting all these things together to make this drug because we're human beings and we're
stupid.
We're stupid. Yeah,
We ruin everything.
We're being tempted by evil forces, things like that. So that's why I think things. Everything has a good purpose, but of course also it has a bad purpose because Satan is in the world and he's tempting people to do things, and he can manipulate anything.
So I just learned this recently. People used to dip their cigarettes in formaldehyde and smoke them
Holy cow!
to get high. Like that was an easy drug, a quick drug. I'm just curious, where are you finding formaldehyde?
Yeah.
Like you really have to want that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't just pick
You
that
don't
up.
pick it up at the corner store,
Yeah.
right?
Go,
You
go
don't
to
just-
the funeral home.
Well, that was kind of my point. Like everything is controlled. Like when you talk about, so Easton just got diagnosed. Well, I shouldn't say just got diagnosed. We've all known that he has ADHD, but they gave him meds to help regulate him. Doesn't work exactly like we had hoped, but we're trying,
Process,
right?
yeah.
We're trying. We're just process. Okay, so interestingly enough, they gave him a chewable, but it was like $700 a month.
Wow.
And ain't nobody got money for that.
No.
So we're like, give us the pill. We'll force him to swallow it. We'll figure it out. And so we called back, and that one's $500 a month. But it wasn't just the pharmacist can change it. It's a controlled substance.
Right.
So they had to call the doctor. The doctor had to sign off on it, send it back to the pharmacy. Well, then the doctor sent it to the wrong pharmacy. So we had to call back and get it sent to a different. It was a whole nightmare. My point in all of that is because it's a controlled substance, it's not easy to get.
Right.
But I could probably buy it on the street easier and cheaper than I can get it
yeah.
from
You
the
can.
pharmacy.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think about that.
Side note, is it Adderall?
No.
Do you mind? Okay.
We were
because-
very cautious about what we gave him, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's like 5 milligrams, very low dosage of something that is just barely over the line to be a stimulant. Yeah.
I was going to say, really, anything that is like a controlled stimulant, you almost have to be your own advocate, like to call and check on it, 7 days beforehand, because the shortages, they're crazy right now. And I think it's because people are just getting it and going out and selling it on the streets.
Yeah. I had a friend who, I use that word very loosely, so let me just back off of that for just a second, who was on like medical morphine, liquid morphine.
Ooh.
And they had a friend that was stealing it and selling it. And so when they needed a refill, they'd go to the doctor, and the doctor would be like, sorry, you're not due for a refill yet.
Right.
And pretty
Right.
soon they stopped prescribing it. And then they had to go to pain management, and they're miserable now because they can't get the meds that they need because people would steal it
Quote-unquote friend
and,
would steal it.
abuse it. So,
Wow.
yeah. Interesting situation. Holly, what's yours?
Well, I'm going to go back to why bad things happen to good people.
Okay.
Okay, so God's word said that it rains on the just and the unjust. And so many years ago when I was first saved, I used to sing a song about if we never had the rain, how would we ever enjoy the sunshine?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, if we don't have trials and we don't have dark days and we don't have places where we have to grow, because that's what trials do. They grow us up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if we mature through them, I mean, we can lay down the mollygups and let them run us over, or we can stand up and say, "This is not today, Satan."
Yeah.
But I believe that when bad things happen, they can either be terrible things, or we can turn them into a stepping stone and make them a better thing.
And it makes you like appreciate the good thing.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
But let me use an example. So I'm not talking about just like, day-to-day life. So when I was called to ministry, like I had, in my mind, had a plan of how ministry was going to work. Like I was going to start pastoring, and Florence would be here if I needed her. All of those things would be like, everything was going to work hand in hand. And like we had a plan. We knew what it was going to look like. And then she died very soon afterwards. I mean, it wasn't very long, and wasn't well enough to really even
Right.
be here, have
Mentor,
conversations
yeah.
with me. Like I really couldn't even call on her when I needed to. And so, granted, her season had come and gone, and she had accomplished what she was sent to accomplish, but it's still not easy to understand that, or to like,
Oh, yeah.
and so I don't
Looking
even say
back
like,
at
oh,
it.
I was the good person and why did that happen to me? I'm like, she was the good person. Why did that happen to her?
Right.
She had so many hopes and dreams. And I mean, she believed she was going to have a supernatural healing.
Right.
I mean, she got the ultimate healing,
Right,
but that
right.
wasn't in our minds. That wasn't what we
What-
expected.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, just like vertigo that I have tonight is because I laid down on the couch, and I know better. But I come home so tired tonight, and I just lay down, and then I wake up, and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? So see, that bad thing was my own doing.
yeah, that does happen. We've said it. The world that we're full of stupid people. We do dumb things.
When you come home, try to keep your shoes on. I'm telling you, it makes a world of
For
a
what?
difference. Because if you know you have something to do tonight and you don't want to lay on the couch, you know what I mean? Like once I go home and take my shoes off,
It's
done.
game
I'm
over.
done. But I'm like, nope, I'm gonna cook I made a made from scratch dinner
I saw
last
that.
night.
Yeah,
It was
I
my
almost stopped
grandma's
over.
recipe, but I'm like, keep your shoes on because you gotta peel these potatoes, you gotta peel this onion, you gotta
That
do
is
everything.
definitely a mental thing, because mine, I can, whether my shoes on or off, if I sit down on the couch, it's
That's how I am.
Yeah.
game over. And then I feel like I melt into the couch at some point, like
Yeah.
pretty soon. I don't even know how my pajamas come on. It's not on fire. I promise it's not on fire. I turned the furnaces on to burn off the smell before Sunday. So Beth's over there sniffing around like the building's on fire. Everything is fine. I promise.
The sanctuary is toasty
Yeah.
in there.
And it's only set to 65 in there. So if that tells you anything, that's why I don't like to turn the heat on Sunday mornings, because I cook. And everybody else is sitting over there with their jackets on and their sweaters and their blankets.
Side
Bring their
note,
blankets.
we have a smart thermostat here, don't
Yes.
we? Does it have a function like where you can turn
This
it
has
on?
nothing to do
I
with the
know,
podcast,
I said
folks.
side note, 'cause I know if I don't ask now, I'm never going to. Does it have a function that you can, because we turn the heat down like in the evening, but then I want it to be warm when we wake
Yeah,
up.
it's got
you
a
can-
schedule.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I figured.
Yep,
I
and you
figured,
can
why
set
not?
the schedule from either directly the thermostat or from your app. But I
Okay.
we use the app,
the app. Yeah.
because if somebody rents the gym, or even if Holly's using the sanctuary, we can turn the heat on and off remotely to have it warm before they get
Right.
here. Now, a lot of times we don't do that, and I just let them freeze. But that's on them, not on me.
Felt that before.
Yeah, I got one of those, but I can turn it on and off and turn the heat and air on. That's the max.
Oh, jeez.
The only reason, because we need a new one, and Chase was like, I might just get one of those smart ones, and I'm
$70. You
Yeah,
really can't beat it.
Yeah,
No.
you can't beat that.
You really can't beat it. Okay. Anyhow, Holly, what's one of your questions?
Well,
I'm going to charge Honeywell for that ad, by the way.
We need sponsors.
Going to
I'm
send him a
telling you.
bill.
This would be my ultimate question. Why hasn't he promoted me to my heart's desire?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not time.
That's why I keep telling myself, Roger.
Well, but your heart's desire, you've had that desire for a long time, and so you've been waiting for him to do that for a long time.
Time.
It's not like maybe it's not the time, and you're like, okay, maybe next week, or maybe next week, or maybe next week. It's why? When, Lord? When?
But not that I'm not content. I've learned to be content where I'm at, but I do desire more.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we all do.
No, I'm never gonna. You're never gonna hear me say that. Nope. Right now, I desire less, a whole lot less.
Yeah, true. You do.
Yeah, so that would be my. It almost even sometimes feels like a dilemma. That's strange.
Yeah.
But I am content where I am, and I'm happy with what I do, and I love serving. But there is just something in me that wants more.
My next question is why me? For all of the things, why me? Good, bad, or indifferent? Why me?
I feel like a lot of people would have that.
Like, why did you call me to ministry in this community at this time in this building specifically? And then why have all of the things that have happened to me have led up to this moment?
Because it made you.
But
who you
why?
are. Yeah.
Right? Like,
Right.
you could have done that a lot of different ways, but that's the way you had to go, huh? We couldn't have found another path. We couldn't have done
We
this.
could have made it a little easier.
Yeah. And I don't
Couldn't we
even,
have skipped this chapter?
right, yeah.
But he knows
Yeah.
your character, and he knows
Yeah.
you would have skipped the chapter and not learned the lesson.
Well, and I would have skipped that chapter and then the next chapter and
Right.
the next chapter.
You'd have
and the
read,
next-
you'd
Close
have
the
read the
book.
last page of the book.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd been like, okay, that sounds like fun. Now, how do I do it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like putting together a piece of IKEA
Without
furniture.
Yeah.
reading.
We
the
don't look at the
instructions.
directions.
Yep.
We just assume we know what we're
Just gonna
doing,
say
and then
that.
at the end, it's a disaster. I started with a bookshelf, ended up with a birdhouse. I
Ended
don't.
up in the fire.
Dave.
Yeah. Started with a bookshelf, ended up in the fire.
Firewood.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even think that stuff would burn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, well, but it stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
It
laminated.
smokes. Yeah, it
Sure
smokes
does.
a
It
lot.
smokes bad.
Smokes, you don't even know smokes. So we went to a birthday party. Holly and I were there together, and they were cleaning out stuff, and they threw a foam mattress on top of the fire. This fire was so big, and the smoke was so black. I was confident the fire department was showing up. They never did, so good thing their house wasn't on fire because they didn't seem to care much. But it was epic. It was epic.
Oh.
I still can't breathe right.
That,
That why you have your breather
I got
on?
got my nose strip on because I can't breathe because of the fire.
that reminds me, in high school, side note again, I'm going off track, but this kid I went to high school with, he was in our friend group. His mom, I can't even say the doctor's name, but it was a local doctor because I don't want to get him in trouble. Local doctor who was getting rid of an x-ray machine
Oh no.
and told Derek to go take it and just go scrap it. No, instead he puts it on the fire. I'm like,
Oh no.
an x-ray machine.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yep.
Yeah, because now we all have, what is it? Is it
Radiation
of some
Yeah,
sort,
we all
yeah.
have
Yeah.
we're all, he glows when he walks around. Now you flip
Yeah.
out the lights and he just glows.
Yeah.
I would ask God why he's made so many stupid people.
Yeah, for sure.
The human glow stick.
Yeah, the human glow stick. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Well, and it's tough sometimes because you look at certain people and you think, man, they seem like they have everything they want and they seem happy and they don't seem too stressed out. But you kind of know they're not Christians. You kind of know they don't have a relationship with God. And you think, well, why is life so easy for them? Why does it seem like they are where they are in life and they're content with that? And yet here I am and I can't seem to be content. I can't get to where.
Because the enemy doesn't, if you're doing his work, he doesn't have any need to disrupt
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when you're doing the
Yeah.
good work that he feels like he has to jump in the middle.
For sure.
Yeah. It's a whole lot easier to disrupt somebody doing something good than it is to disrupt somebody doing something bad.
I totally see what you're saying though, because then it's like, well, I mean,
It's like, well, how much harder and how much longer do I have to work
right.
before I get to where I want to be? And meanwhile, you could look at some other people like, man, they just seem like, they don't have to work that hard.
Yeah.
And
Comes
it all
easy
just comes
for
to
'em.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's,
But are they really happy? Really? I mean,
Right.
you see their outer.
Yeah, what they're
The
showing.
shell,
Yeah,
yeah.
what they're
But
showing.
are they really happy in their heart?
Yeah. One of the regarding that, I had a conversation with somebody who was upset about somebody else, but they weren't really upset about that person. They were upset about themselves because they felt like they were missing their calling. And so rather than just saying, I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be,
They blamed
instead I'm going to be mad at this person because
Yeah.
they're getting what I think I want.
Right.
Is that called coveting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Yes.
sure. For sure. But what's interesting about it is, and I get this a lot too. I'll get a text from somebody that says, hey, explain this to me. And I'm like, well, there's this thing called your Bible and this other thing called Google. Yeah. But so I never mind
Yeah.
answering those questions. But when I answer them, I try to dumb it down just a little bit. Like I'm going to give you just the bare part of what
Yeah.
you need. Go do the homework yourself.
Right.
So when somebody says something like that to me and I say, well, why are you coveting what they have? Well, what does coveting mean? What?
Webster.
Go, Roger.
I feel like maybe we shouldn't be having this conversation.
Encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh my
This message is brought to you by Merriam-Webster Dictionary.
Webster.
2 sponsors tonight, baby. 2
We're on
sponsors.
a roll.
Sending them both bills.
Oh my goodness
Where were
gracious.
we?
Somewhere in Webster from A to Z.
Well, we're 21 minutes in and it's already a train wreck. Lord have mercy.
That was good. That was good.
But it's true. So, but people don't think for themselves or to
Yeah.
go and
Yeah.
find for themselves.
They want everybody to do things for them.
They want spoon-fed. And Elizabeth said when she was here, if you've been in the church for more than 2 years and you're still sitting in a pew, shame on you because now you should be working. If you've been here for more than 2 years and you're asking questions about the definition of the word covet,
Well, not only that, but if you said covet and they didn't know, use your resources before
Well,
asking you.
and especially when it's in text message, because
Right.
you could
That's what I'm saying.
Google that real quick
That's
and
what
go,
I'm
okay,
saying.
I got it.
Or hey Siri,
Yeah, got it. Okay.
My series don't work anymore.
It's because
It's red. It's red.
User's error.
No, it's because he has an Android. He doesn't even have
You don't
Siri.
have a Siri.
We have to say, hey, Google.
This message is brought to you by Google.
Wow.
Yes, we're on 3.
I never thought about Google. I'm going to.
Yeah,
when
you
I
can
get
say,
home.
"Hey Google."
Right to your phone. Hey, Google.
Oh, I don't know how to do that on my phone.
It's not your phone, it's your mouth, Roger. Hey, Google.
Test it out now. Do you have your
He
phone?
doesn't even know where his phone is.
Yeah, I do. It's on the charger
Oh,
Okay.
at home.
Google's lost somewhere. Lord have mercy.
Oh, lordy dordy. Let's see here.
This is all true.
it's
This is
doing
all
it.
true.
It's searching for us.
Oh, because you said, "Hey Google."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she'll say, "How can I help you, Roger?"
And I'll say,
Wait, who is this?
Have we met?
It's gonna become its best friend.
I had somebody tell me that their phone was talking to him once. That's probably what it was. Like,
Was it Roger who said that?
Maybe, but I can't remember for sure.
My.
no, my tablet, it has a, I have
Jesus,
the
take the
Bible
wheel.
apps on it. And
Yeah.
I'll be laying there just about asleep, and I hear this church bells. And I thought, where is that coming from? I mean, there's a church right up the road, but I know they don't have any bells.
At 11 o'clock at night.
This has to
You know,
be a
you know,
And Linda's like, "Well, I don't know."
so I asked my wife, I says, what's that? What is that? She says, well, I don't know. Sounds like church bells to me. You know, our listeners probably think I'm really making all this up.
Yeah,
but I'm
it's
not.
It's for real. This is true. All of this is probably very true.
It really is.
Oh, goodness gracious. We got Holly's over there choking. She's laughing so hard.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I have a great wondering about eternity and like, am I gonna get bored? And I know we're not going to, but Holly says we're all going to have a job. So I'm like, I want to know what my job is. That way I can prepare myself.
Yeah. Like, I hope I'm not like making soap bottles or something. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have
An
a good
assembly
job.
line
Yeah. Like,
beside Roger.
like I want to have, yeah.
I'm mowing grass.
Okay. Yeah, Roger's mowing grass.
He's already planning.
Yeah. The big mower in the sky.
Big green tractor.
I'll be right back.
Holly's gotta leave. Okay, so this
Might need to leave.
so bad. So bad. This is going in the bank. I don't think we can. I'm going to send it to Margie. And then she can decide whether or not this needs to go
Well,
live.
this could be our most popular episode. Just don't, I think we're good.
I mean, we're going to get sponsored by
Well,
this one.
so-
we have to post it.
My favorite part, that's why I like these topics, because they don't have, like, there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
It's just conversation. Okay, so meanwhile, back at the ranch. So Roger's going to be mowing grass.
On his big green
on
tractor.
his big green tractor. And so you were saying that your question was,
What am I going to be doing?
what are you going to be doing? Okay.
But I also wonder, like, maybe my character is forming right now to prepare myself for that eternal job. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't know.
What you're learning here on Earth
Yeah,
will be what you
and
do.
mowing.
Yeah.
I'm
So you're
mowing grass.
delivering mail in heaven.
No, there better not be no bills in heaven.
That would be miserable,
Well,
wouldn't it?
yeah, even just like your personality. Like, if you're easy and outgoing, maybe you'll be a greeter of some
Yeah.
sort. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Good answer. Good answer. Family
Good
Feud.
answer.
Good answer.
Can you insert that?
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. I was actually thinking I have to insert the meanwhile back at the ranch. If we need to just record that and have that as a, because that's our loop back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, any other questions? I don't even know where Holly went. She just like disappeared from her seat.
gone.
She couldn't take it anymore.
yeah, where did Holly go? That's my next question.
Her vertigo. She's probably lost somewhere in the hallway.
You're passed out in the hallway. Meanwhile,
don't
back at the
know.
ranch.
There she is. Welcome back. I would probably ask one more question, and again, my mind is if I have made it to heaven at this point.
If
No, like
When?
no. I'm saying like if not
If the
not if I could
time
ask it today.
now, but
if
when you're in
I got
heaven.
to ask the question when
Yeah,
I died.
yeah.
My question would be I don't know how I would phrase it exactly, but are my kids where they need to be? Are they?
Have
Have I given them everything that I
Yeah.
could give them? Have I equipped them? And probably not just my kids, everybody.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
I accomplished what you set me out to accomplish? Did I do all of the things that you expected me to do? Because I love constructive criticism. I love when somebody says to me, "Hey, you did this. That was fine, but I would prefer you do this."
Yeah.
And so if he said, "Okay, you should have done these 3 things or these 5 things or these 10 things, but you didn't, and instead you did this," like there's confirmation in how I lived my life. So I would probably ask, did I do all of the things that you sent me to do? Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
You know,
Holly,
She's still
can't stop
laughing.
there's another one that's kind of like the whole, who killed Kennedy? Are aliens real? Why do some people have 20/20 vision? Like, why can't I be one of those people?
That's a great question. Yeah.
Chase. He's like, don't even carry eye insurance for me. My eyes are perfect. And I'm like, oh.
They won't be after I poke them out.
I'm like, yeah, until you getting into an accident of some sort.
He's about to get treated like Samson. Take both his
Yeah.
eyes out.
Yeah.
Who? Roger goes, who? Like we weren't just talking about Chase.
Roger, you.
you can't, because I got glasses on.
Gouge guards.
Yeah.
I gotta get some more coffee.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
My.
Yeah.
Holly, give us another question.
Reel us back in.
Reel us back, please. Reel
You're
us
the
back
only
in.
one.
She's like, I can't at this
No,
point. It's
she's
a
not.
total loss.
We're too far out shore.
Yeah.
Christ, holy cow.
Bad.
Her rope's not that low.
Well, for such a time as this,
For such a time as this.
when you ask what you would ask God, that, why me? Why now? Why? Because at this point in time, nobody else could do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he
Why me?
created you for such a time as this.
And that's great, but why me?
like a-
Why couldn't he have created Nick for this, or Roger for this, or Sid for this?
Because he's created for something else.
Yeah.
That's
He's
right.
got to deal with all the hard factory workers who have hard heads.
I don't want to do that.
And he's got the...
I'll do this.
Okay.
I'll do this. I
you
don't want
go.
to do
Yes,
that.
you
I'll
will.
do this. Yeah, I'll do this.
Yeah, so each one of us is created for such a time as this. I was just looking at that today in Ecclesiastics, that everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
Every season's for a reason. Everything in our lives has a reason, and all we have to do is walk that out.
That's
But
right.
sometimes we fuss and scream and don't want to do that.
Well,
I think I would ask the question: how integral was I to your plan?
yeah.
Because I'm just,
And how many times
I'm a
did you
he-
have
you
to,
know,
reel me back in?
Redirect.
I'm a hair on
Yeah.
your head in the whole scheme of things. So
Right.
how integral, was my existence in the world?
Yeah.
Show me just how integral,
Yeah.
I am to this whole plan that you have.
Wouldn't it be interesting to be able to see that your whole life kind of replay? I don't want to say in fast forward,
Well, don't
but
they say sometimes when you're passing away that happens?
yeah, I've never died, so
Yeah,
I don't
me
know if
neither,
that's
but-
true or not. But this one time that I died, no, I'm kidding.
One
I've
time
never
at
died.
band camp.
Yeah, jeez, oh Lord. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna. I heard this thing about dreams,
Yeah.
that they say you'll dream like 5 times during every night if you fall into
Yes,
REM.
yes.
And
I don't know anything about that.
And we have to do it, or when we're awake, if we don't dream and do that, we'll start to lose it. We'll start to.
Must have been what's wrong with me.
I was going to say, it explains
Well,
my
yeah.
life so well.
I used to remember mine, but
But they say, every stage of your dream, some of it is like something from your past, something going on in the present, something in your future. And I forget what the other 2 stages were, but it's almost like it's all a combination of all the things that have already
Have
happened or are
consumed your
going
brain.
to happen
Yeah.
in your life. And we're not cognizant of all of them, but that's the system of your dreams. Is it's almost like it's on a reel.
do you remember your dreams?
Well, every once in a while.
while?
Yeah, if it's really,
Have you guys ever had a dream about your phone? It's just a thing. Like, apparently people don't have dreams about their phones.
I've never had a
No.
dream about. No, I have had a dream where I'm trying to text somebody,
I've never had that.
and
I don't
Well,
know
that's
if
what
I've
I'm
ever
just
had.
Like,
the phone in general. I
yeah,
guess.
where I'm trying to text somebody and I can't do it, or call somebody and I can't do it. Like, there's an emergency happening and I can't dial my phone. Like, I'm
Like
trying
sleep
to.
paralysis
And
almost?
it's no, my fingers are dialing, but
Yeah.
it's not dialing the right number. So you backspace and dial again. It's still not the right number, and you keep doing that. And yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just go to
that's
contact.
It's like a
running.
nightmare.
I'm running it, but I can't run fast enough.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I can't get where I want to go. Or now I'm always at the school. I'm always at school. Always.
I used to have ones about like me being in sewers and stuff, and now I'm married to a plumber's.
That was your sign. That was your sign.
Apparently.
I have heard, and I don't know how true it is, but all of the faces from your dreams are faces of people that you have seen before.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Like, you may not recognize them because you've seen them in passing, but your mind retains that and it uses it in dreams. I have had only ever one recurring dream in my entire life. It's not relevant to this podcast, but I'm going to share it anyway.
And what?
This is the episode to do
At
it.
this point, what does it
Is any
matter?
of this relevant?
Yeah, at this point, what does it matter? So my grandmother, my mom's mom, lived in Alabama, and she had a ranch house that her bedroom stepped up. It was one step up into her bedroom, and it was off the back end of the living room. And in my dream, the whole house is empty with the exception of her recliner that sat in the one corner. And behind that recliner was a single red balloon.
Ew.
Exactly. Now, even as an adult, I have that dream.
Like you've had it multiple times?
Many. I'm talking probably more than 50 times. I mean, and I remember, like, when I wake up, I'm like, that's so weird.
Did she live in the middle of a cornfield too?
No, but she did live in the middle of nowhere. But the dream has never been scary. It's just, I mean, I had the dream when she was alive. I've had the dream since she's passed away. Like, it's just always been, the balloon doesn't do anything. Nothing happens.
Wonder if the balloon will eventually, or the rocking chair will eventually.
Yeah. So I see the room from, like, the angle, like if I were standing in the kitchen looking towards that way, the rocking chair is sitting there. It's like a fabric recliner, but it was like a rocking recliner. It was weird. I can describe the chair almost perfectly. It was cream colored, and it had like the back kind of like wrapped around your shoulders a little bit, and then the arms are just slightly rolled. They're not super rolled.
Yeah.
And
Like the older one?
Yeah, and it has a. You know what it reminds me of, Roger? Holy smokes!
What?
Remember that chair that used to be in that office? Like
Yeah.
that weird like that's weird. That is so weird.
Like
it's that exact chair. It is that exact chair, with the exception of it had
No red
a
balloon?
slightly.
no clown, no red.
I was going to say, if you start seeing clowns, I don't want to.
Yeah, no clowns. It had a slightly larger floral pattern on it, but it looked exactly like that chair. That's weird.
I think what you're describing, my grandma had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sat there, and then the balloon just floated behind it, and it didn't touch
Was
the
it on
ceiling.
a string?
Yes, there was a string on the balloon.
And it wasn't attached to the.
Well, it
Wasn't attached to the chair.
back, so you couldn't really
Yeah, I
tell.
couldn't see it maybe.
True.
But
true.
it floated just above, like the balloon floated just above the chair, and it never touched the ceiling. It never went all the way up, but you could, So,
Have you ever looked it up?
no.
Which
No, but Holly will. In about a week, I'll be getting a call from Holly. Hey, by the way, your dream means you lost your freaking mind. It means you need to be institutionalized.
we're on our way to come get you.
Yeah, so fun dream. There you
Yeah.
go. I've had like some horrific dreams, but it's always about my kids. And I was saying last week, maybe I didn't say it on the podcast, but I've said it to several people since the accident with my nephew, is that you think that as your kids get older, they grow out of danger.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like when your baby gets to a certain age, you're no longer worried about sudden infant death syndrome. Do you know, like parents worry, like my wife worries about everything. My wife worries about secondary drowning. I have never heard of anybody secondary drowning, but my wife, like,
I thought you only drowned once.
well, apparently after you've drowned, you can drown again. I don't know.
Because you're
It's still in your lungs, and I don't know.
All right.
like if you swallow, like if a child swallows too much water swimming, it can hours later drown.
Yeah. So my wife freaks out about that stuff. Like that's. But anyhow, you think that your kids outgrow that stuff. So at a certain age, you're not worried about your kid getting hit on their bike anymore. You know, by a car. There's things that you just grow out of. But you can never anticipate the things as an adult that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, car accidents.
I was going to say, I was in a car accident delivering mail, and my stepmom, I was like, I called her, I didn't know what to do. Like, she's a mail carrier. And it was 2 days before Christmas. Well, then next thing I know, here's my dad like there. And I'm like, why are you here? Like,
Yeah.
But it makes sense because he's like, I mean, he left work. Like, he never leaves work
That's
or anything
the stuff
like
that you don't.
Yeah.
Like, until you have children, you don't even think about that. Well, we just had an incident in the nursery, and it scared Alyssa so badly. Emmett and Remy were horse playing, which boys will do, and Emmett fell to the floor and it knocked the wind out of him. Remy had no idea that it had done that, and so he sat on Emmett, and it scared him. Emmett was like absolutely panicked. Like, he couldn't catch his breath, and you could just see it all over him. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You want to, like, my wife is like, I could have heard her from the other side of the building scream for me, but I was right behind her and was going, and I was not going in for any reason other than we were gathering up kids to take in to eat.
Right.
Holy smokes, scare the daylight out of you. Remy was scared because he thought he had hurt him. It
Right.
wasn't like, it was just,
Panic.
again,
Yeah.
boys do dumb things, but
Yeah.
you don't think about that stuff, and you think they grow out of it, but they don't. So that leads me back to the why do bad things happen to good people question,
Yeah.
which we can answer, but I'm just saying, scary to death.
The day that I had my cataract removed, which I'd waited for that appointment forever, and Holly Jane calls and she says, I've had an accident. I'm like, you're kidding me. She says, my car is totaled. And she's right up by where I'm going to have my eye surgery. And I'm like, well, we're on our way. When we get there, somebody from her work had come to sit with her until we got there. Well, then I had to go have that eye surgery, and my kid's been in Iraq, and,
Yeah.
you know, why did all that happen?
On the same day.
On
Yeah.
the same day, within, you know, like...
And you know, if you were to have to reschedule, it would have been months.
Right. And then
Yeah.
my blood pressure sky high, and I kept sounding off that beep, beep, beep. And they're like, Mrs. Daisy, if your blood pressure doesn't come down, you know, this surgery isn't going to happen. And I'm telling you, I was so blind in this eye. And I just... And I truly did ask God, why? What is the purpose of all this?
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know. I know Holly's safe. I did have the eye surgery. Everything worked out. But you know what? I just got a revelation. I had this eye. My sisters kept saying, you open up your eyes, it's going to be a brand new day. Everything's going to be so clear and beautiful. I'm telling you what, it's like I had a big cloud over my eye. But I'll bet you it was from my blood pressure being so high. About a week later, it cleared up. But it made me so depressed. Because now what? Now I've got a cloud in my eye where I can't see.
My grandma's going through that right now, and it's like she can technically drive, but she probably shouldn't. Like Holly coming here tonight.
Well, I've known that my grandma has had trouble with her vision, but she has this little cart. My grandma, old people and weird stuff. Let's just put it that way, Roger.
Okay, thanks.
She has this little card that has a dot in the middle and it has lines on it. And apparently, if you look at it, it's supposed to tell you like what type of vision issues you have. Again, old people and weird stuff. Okay. But my grandma looks at this card and she can't see the dots or the lines because her vision is so bad. Like she sees just two great big black holes. Like everything's just, I'm like, it's a good thing you don't drive, Grandma. I just sideswiped that car because it was just a black hole.
I'm like, I need to look at that card.
But I didn't realize how bad it was until she was like, she shows me the card. I'm like, yeah, it's got a dot in the middle and it's got lines all over it. She goes, you can see the lines. And I said, yeah, I can see the line. She goes, all I can see is two big black holes. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Get that
scary.
card off of her.
Get that card. I'm going to tell her to bring it to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes through the door has to tell us. Everybody has to tell us. And we'll take your driver's license if you see.
Hey, I had to get my driver's license this year. I was afraid I wouldn't get them.
So
It was, they kept flipping the thing. Can you see that? Nope. Can you see that?
it's 147 font.
Yeah, I see that.
They make you take your glasses off for that. Was you
Yeah,
allowed
but then
to
they
get
made
with-
me put them back on.
I was going to say, I tell them when I go, they say, start with your glasses off. I'm like, there's no reason. I have to have them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mine go on my face in the morning.
Same.
They don't come off until I go to bed at night, unless I've got contacts in.
See, I can see distance, but as
Close up.
up close,
It doesn't matter to me either way. Like I take these
can't
bad
see
boys off and
distance.
everything's a blob.
Yeah. Mine has gotten a lot worse, like throughout the years, but
the older you get, the worse they'll get.
I know.
My doctor says, "Oh, your vision just changed ever so slightly," and I'm like, "Yeah, ever so slightly for the past 36 years."
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
still, I'm completely blind.
Yep.
I take these things off, I can't see nothing.
Well, you get to be 60 or 78. Why? You'll be blind.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when I
It'd be
first
two big
got,
black dots.
Yeah,
when I first got my
you won't even
glasses
see
in
the
like
black dots.
7th grade, it was negative 1.75. Now it's negative 3.5.
I don't know what any of that means, but mine's probably like negative 3,000 at this point.
Oh.
All right,
Check your contact proofs, like on the box.
Yeah, I
It'll
will.
say on there.
I will.
I'm gonna guess you're like negative 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
By looking at my eyes, you can tell that.
No,
Let me
because I have a
see.
friend who's blind, and if you're as blind as he is, then
Yeah.
it'll be about that.
All right. What other questions do we have?
What brings me to an interesting question is, why do we have to age both mentally and physically?
Yeah.
Why can we not
great.
all be like Elisha and just
Yeah.
walk into heaven?
Or why can't we just get to be like 35 years old
Or Elijah?
physically?
Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Elijah walked into heaven.
Enoch.
No, Elisha did too.
Oh, did he?
Elijah did. Didn't
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
Here you go, wait a minute.
Elijah.
J-A-H.
Elisha watched him enter into heaven. Okay.
Ascend, yes.
Yes. Okay. There we go.
But
Sorry.
yeah, why can't we be just like 25, 30 and be done aging physically?
And just live there
And just live until
we die?
We die.
Yeah.
Why is it so important that we have to age physically to the point of
deterioration.
I know it's not
deterioration.
all environmental factors, but some of them are, and that kind of brings me back to like the whole. My brain just went. The drugs thing, like,
Yeah.
But so like periodontal disease, which is your gums, a huge factor of that is like heart disease. So it's like if you don't. Or no, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like periodontal disease can cause heart disease.
Right.
And it's like a lot of people don't know that. But if you're not taking care of your teeth, then it could cause that heart disease, which causes that heart attack. Now, not everything is an environmental like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, especially like you said, the physical aspects, like crippling and yeah.
Well, if you really think about it, from the moment you're born, you begin to die.
Right.
Yeah.
right?
That's
Yeah.
And so
countdown.
it's
But can't I die with my body at 37 rather than at 100?
Especially like the mental aspect, like when you get older.
And you can't find your phone or figure out why it's making church bells or
It's not my phone. It's my iPad.
or how to make
Thought it was
Come
a
on,
tablet.
Get it straight.
how to use Google.
No, but it's, like Alzheimer's and
All
like,
of that.
that's- Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
I mean anything that is health related. Like
Yeah.
why is bad health a thing?
Right.
Why is our body so imperfect?
Right.
I just have some timers.
Sometimes, just sometimes. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was bad, Roger. That was. She goes. I just got that.
Oh.
He's on a roll tonight, isn't he?
Yes.
He's on a roll tonight.
It really is.
You just might
Got
get
extra
your
cup
own.
of coffee.
We'll give you your own spin-off podcast.
Yeah.
We're gonna
How
give
about
him.
that?
We're gonna do a stand-up comedy night. It's just gonna be Roger.
He's reminding me of Cy right now with his camo jacket. His own podcast. Cy.
From Duck
Duck
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Yeah.
He's my hero.
This message is brought to you by Duck Dynasty.
I'll tag Sadie Robb because I
Thank you,
I
and
listen
see
to
if
her
she
all
could
the time.
sponsor us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love Original. That's her. Yeah. Thanks, Sadie.
Thanks, Sadie. We appreciate you.
You know, though,
I listen every Monday and Wednesday.
someone may need to listen and to hear the laughter and the joy.
Oh, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yep.
One of the things that I say that I love the most about this is that it's genuine conversation that is not scripted, planned, or in any way prompted.
And really, when else do you have this throughout your week for an hour straight? Like, yeah, you might have a conversation, but is it
Yeah.
for an hour and a half?
And
you know?
and do you get to listen
Hey.
to five people make absolute fools out of themselves?
Right.
no sense.
Perfect
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
I texted driving home from work. Podcast?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but we don't have a topic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, so my favorite of all of this is, so shout out to Nick's wife, Margie. She is, without a doubt, our number one
okay.
fan.
Yeah.
So,
When that last one hadn't posted,
right.
let's hear
my
it every
fault.
like
It's
every
my
day. I'm
fault.
like,
We
I don't know.
we recorded last week without Sid.
Yeah.
And Sid does post production. So I do the upload while we're sitting here whenever we're all done. And then Sid does post production. She does the description and all of the technical stuff on the post side. And so I didn't think to text her after we were done. I knew she was at a volleyball game. I was like, not gonna bother her with it. Never thought anything of it until Margie sends me a text like, "Hey, did you guys decide not to post the podcast?"
Yeah.
So I texted like, "Hey, did you do post production?" And she said, "No, forgot. I'll do it today." As soon as that thing went live, Margie was listening to it.
Yeah.
As
She did.
soon as it went live.
Yeah.
Do you know if she gets notified when we? She might.
She must
No, 'cause she
stalk
says
us.
sometimes she has problems finding it, which I don't know
Okay.
why, but
Well, where does she listen?
usually Spotify.
Okay, so Spotify
Yeah.
takes almost 24 hours before it comes. They only crawl every 24 hours or every 16 hours, something like
Yeah.
that. So it takes them a little more time to get it.
But if it's straight from Buzzsprout,
Yeah.
which is the link that we share on
Or our website.
or our website,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
She'll
right
get
away.
it right away.
Mhm.
It was funny because I was in the living room watching TV, and I could hear her listening to somebody. I'm like, who is she listening to? I'm like,
That would be
I was
us.
like, that's me. It was my voice. But I'm like, who's she listening to?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was like,
I think I know that guy.
Santa.
I know him. Oh, goodness gracious.
My wife started watching Christmas movies today.
Hey,
Awesome.
listen.
Yes.
So Holmes County, we start decorating for Christmas really early because they do a Christmas open house the first full weekend of November. And I have some real Grinches around me. They're like, it's too early to put up the tree. I'm telling you what, the lobby of our hotel is absolutely gorgeous. They did a fantastic job decorating for Christmas this year. And I am so thankful I didn't have to do any of it.
Yeah.
Because in years past, that has been my job. So thankful I didn't have to do that. However, there will not be a tree in my house until the absolute last minute. Not because I don't want one, but because I have a dog that knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
I know, like last year he was still a puppy, so he didn't really bother anything. This year, he gets what we call
be surprised.
he gets what we call the zoomies. And so he just starts making laps in the house. I mean, as fast as he can go. Today, Alyssa took him off his leash, off his chain outside, and he just started doing laps around the house. I mean, it's 100 miles an hour around the house. He never stops.
How old is he now?
He's just over 1.
Yeah.
So he's still very much
You
so a
might just
puppy.
need a 3-footer. Put it on the desk or something.
Put it on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Centerpiece of the dining room table.
Yeah. He's a handful.
Maxie was doing that tonight. I'm telling you, and I'm on the phone with Holly, and she's like, "Mom, what is that noise?" I said, "That's Max."
Yeah, it's the dog.
I mean,
Sounds like a
fast
pony.
as he can- He's so funny. He passes you by, and his ears are flopping, and you're like, "Max,
That's your Shih Tzu, right?
yeah." And
My
he's
Shih
like,
Tzu-
"Who's Max?"
She's about 14, and she's like age reversing. Like she never
Yeah.
used to do zoomies. She now does zoomies because
Yeah.
people are like, she's still living. We're like, oh, she's
Her
gonna be
best
here
life.
for another 10 years.
Lucy's the same way.
Is Zoomies in Webster?
Maybe. And it's an official dog word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's an official,
it's in there.
It's an official dog word, by the way.
Okay.
Your
and the dog dictionary.
Yes.
And there's quite a few definitions too.
It's in the Merriam-Webster.
Oh my. You can find it in your nearest BarkBox subscription.
This message is brought to you by BarkBox.
What, $10.99 a month?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what it is. I don't.
We're going to get sued like from 5 companies tomorrow. being like, you know,
We're gonna have cease and desist letters just rolling in, man.
They're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Hey, if it gets them to listen,
Yeah.
it gets them to listen.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether we're getting sued or not.
Hey, so does anybody else have any questions? I wanted to look at stats so we could just talk about that real quick towards the end, but does anybody else have any thoughts?
Parting wisdom
Any
to
parting
this
wisdom?
beautiful podcast.
Very.
No, I'm starting to worry about the AI thing.
Are you really?
Yeah, well, because I was listening to my Gettysburg podcast, and they were talking about, because when they made the movie, of course they had to hire all the reenactors and
Yeah.
everything to make that movie for all those thousands of soldiers. Well, now it's to the point where,
They
we
have
don't
AI
need these
doing it.
people anymore.
Did
We
you know
can just
that's-
make them all up.
Hollywood's strike was like
Right,
huge
yeah,
part
and that's
of
what they were
AI.
talking about was because
yeah.
one of the actors who was in that movie, I think he serves on the union board for the actors. And so
okay.
he says, yeah, that's the issue is now that we're moving into Netflix and all this streaming, and now we're moving into the AI, he's like, it used to be pretty simple how we got paid.
right.
Like if
Hourly
we did the
and-
job, the acting job, we got paid for that. And then if they released a DVD or whatever, then every time they sold
Right.
one or whatever,
You'd get
we would get a
commission.
certain cut.
Yes.
But now with the streaming
You get
and everything, they really can't tell what's the number one
Correct.
Yep.
show,
And they can-
or they can't tell why people are subscribing. Like if you subscribe to Netflix, you get it all.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a
You're not buying that movie.
It's not like
Right,
pay-per-view used
right.
to be, where
Yeah.
you're just buying that movie.
Yeah.
So now it's like these companies don't want to pay these actors what they should be getting paid because they can't say, well, all these people are subscribing to Netflix because of this show.
Right. Yeah, I never thought
And
of
so that's what they're upset about is, they're not getting enough
Accurate.
compensation for the shows that they're in because of the demographics and the fact that, they're trying to change things. And
that. Yeah.
but now that the AI has come across, they're saying like, oh, well, now, they could take an actor's, like they've seen it,
Face.
like where Tom Cruise gives this interview and it's not him.
Correct.
And
It's
a lot
all
of people
deepfake.
believe it.
and
It's all
Harrison
deepfake stuff.
Ford, I think they like
Yeah.
Age reversed
Yes.
him in the last Indiana Jones.
yes, and
Yeah.
didn't even
Okay.
Didn't- yeah.
So let's just talk about AI for a second. because you brought it up, so now I'm in there. Okay, so I tested ChatGPT because I use ChatGPT for everything in my life. Like when I make a job description or anything like that, because it gives you a really good base set to start with, right? Okay, so a long time ago, long time ago. No, don't do that. We're gonna get sued. Okay,
We're already sued.
Yeah.
I told ChatGPT to write me a sermon based on John 3:16. That was all the information that I gave it. Today we turn our attention to the most well-known and beloved verse in all of Scripture, John 3:16. It reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." This verse often refers to as the gospel in a nutshell because it captures the essence of the Christian message in just a few words. Let us take a closer look at this passage and what it means for us today. First, we see that God's love is beyond measure. I mean, it writes a full message.
It's not personal.
It's not personal at all. But isn't that dangerous?
It is
Yes.
dangerous.
Because here's the thing. You're going to have people who just then regurgitate this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 Truth or not. Like they don't do any homework. They don't do any work to like try to figure out how much of this
in
is
any
right.
aspect of life.
Correct.
Like, yeah.
Correct. It is dangerous. Okay. So another thing that I did is I asked it to write. Where's it at?
My bio.
I did
My
actually.
homework.
Okay, so I asked it to write a poem about penguins. And it says, ready? Waddling on the ice and snow, a colony of penguins go. With tuxedo suits and tiny flippers, they slip and slide, but never quiver. Through blizzards fierce and icy blasts, these feathered creatures hold steadfast. In huddles close, they brave the cold, in huddled warmth to each one told. And it goes on for another, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stanzas.
Okay, now because you asked that question and you asked them to write you a poem about penguins, but that doesn't mean that you own that poem.
Correct.
Right.
Because now what I was going to say is if you type that exact same thing into ChatGPT,
Right.
it should logically produce the exact same poem for you.
And kind of like when you were writing a research paper in high school, you would have to cite something.
Yes.
Right.
Like,
Notes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we should have to do.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to, do that sermon,
Yep.
then he's
It's
cited
crazy.
by.
It's
Yeah.
really, really crazy how much it can actually do. So I get it. And I think that this will become dangerous for the church
Yeah.
because
artificial life.
because what will happen is people will start using this without doing any, like there's no relationship with Christ at that point. Like we're, as a pastor, I don't have to do the work.
You're
I can
putting
just
in one sentence on a computer.
let
and calling
ChatGPT
it a
do the
day.
work for me.
Yeah.
So then it actually is artificial intelligence.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
Correct.
the people who do that.
Yeah.
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 I don't have to be smart because I have Google and ChatGPT.
Well, and my worry is it's stealing our purpose. Part of our purpose is sometimes to inspire people to be creative, to use our soul, putting our soul into things. And now it's like, well, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to get to the point where nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to get paid to do that. Nobody's going to, be admired for that. So it's,
I almost feel
because
like we might get tired of it though, and like want to.
let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to not necessarily ban it or anything, but because I feel like it's just going to always be there, but not necessarily buying into it.
It has to be regulated.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah. Because
gonna
at the end of the
kinda-
day, I want to see Harrison Ford in a movie. I don't want to see Harrison Ford AI,
right.
Yeah. But who's to say, will the next generation care
Yeah.
what
that's
they
true.
get?
Right.
Will they even know the
Or-
difference?
Or,
Okay.
yeah. Or we'll just stop.
This is no joke. I just told ChatGPT to write me a script about a man who is missing his shoe and desperately wants to find it. I'm not joking. I have 5 characters. Scene 1, scene 2,
We can play
scene
it out.
3. Yeah, we can
None of
act
us.
out this. We'll do a radio play. We can do a radio play. John and his missing shoe. Because the main character's name is John, the man with the missing shoe. His friend is
See, but-
Sarah.
And that's awesome. But if you have an original idea in your head, that stops you from being
Right.
creative.
Correct.
Right,
From using your
exactly.
soul to create.
Well,
Exactly.
But I think the big point from the whole writer strike is anybody can write a script without doing any
Yeah.
homework.
Yeah.
If my plan, like if I would have come up with the cast for Big Bang Theory, let's use that. This message is brought to you by Big Bang Theory. If I had come up with those characters, had developed that in my mind, literally anybody could sit down and use those characters and create episodes. With very little effort. I mean,
Who's to say they're not doing that now?
well, right. I think that's part of the problem. There's just so much. It's so dangerous. But Yeah. Anyhow, we had 5 scenes, and now we have reached the end of the play. But it wrote me a whole play, a whole script. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really, really wild to think that it's that it can do that with us doing nothing. So why, God? Why not give us that intelligence? Why give it to the computer?
Yeah, know, because some of us desperately want to be a writer or desperately want to be,
a Gettysburg
an
guide.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
So why can't I just be like, I want to be a Gettysburg guide and
Download this
everything I need.
into
And
my
download
cloud.
it into your brain.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit and study.
Right,
I don't have to waste. It's just
Yeah.
all right there. Yeah. Why are we directing everything towards artificial intelligence?
It's crazy.
I think it's going to be Wally.
Wally. Eva. So that's another, like, when my son watched that movie for the first time, Aaron loved that movie when it came out. When he watched it, I was like,
Yeah.
because you watch, like, the world is destroyed by people just consuming. And
which is what we're doing.
like, kids don't get that that's the point of
Yeah,
the movie, but
but
as
that's
adults,
what
when
we
you're
would.
watching it, you're
Yep.
like, man alive, like, are we really doing that?
Yeah.
And then what's the name of the store that they use? Buy and Large, Buy and Save, something like that, which is obviously indicative of one particular big box
Yes.
retailer who won't sponsor us if I use their name attached to that story.
Yeah.
But there's so much behind that to say, and if you watch there are lots of Disney and Pixar movies that have that same company in it. That same Buy and Large or Buy and I can't remember what it is for sure, and they do it on purpose because they connect all of their little worlds together. But the idea is that if we're going to do that, there is very little hope for what we have on physical Earth, like on physical Earth. No, I'm not talking about like when we die and go to heaven. Like, like, I'm talking like we will destroy this world because we just don't care. Anybody else have anything? Any other good questions? This has been,
We've
really
gone
even
off the rails a lot.
the original question is, what 3 questions would you most like to ask God? And I think we may have gotten like 6 questions total between us.
Well, you had 3 yourself, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had lots of laughs though, which is
Yeah.
important. So I did
I
my
had 3, so I, think
I did my part. I asked
Yeah.
my 3. I mean, you guys are slackers.
I had like 2.
I had 3.
I
had one.
Okay.
Nick and I are the only ones pulling our weight around
I
here.
had 1.5 because one was Nick's. So
You're taking credit for half of that?
You're like, hey, are you AI?
AI, yes. She's downloading your answers.
stats. Are we doing?
Oh yeah. So fun. We are in 7 countries still. No new countries at this point.
Come on, countries.
But
well, that was my fault.
that's
'cause
okay.
We didn't download last.
But
week.
we are in 74 cities.
Ooh.
Which is like, I couldn't even list all of these. It's crazy.
I feel like the last time we were all together, it was like 60.
Oh yeah, this
65.
is
Yeah.
a significantly larger list.
I'm just waiting for Gettysburg to make the list.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Saskatchewan, Canada is number 2.
2 of our listeners.
I don't know
would
who
love-
we know.
Can whoever's listening, can you email us who you
Yeah.
are? Because I'm intrigued.
That would be interesting.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
the
that'd be
email,
Yeah.
email
Yes.
is info@myorganicchurch.org.
Yes.
Because I would love to know
Yeah.
who is listening in Canada. But we have lots of Ohio, a lot in Michigan too, like a lot in Michigan. I got excited. It's Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I was like, oh man, Nick's about to come out of his seat.
If any listeners has any friends in Gettysburg,
Yeah.
share this.
Share this with them.
Please.
So we've got some folks in Cleveland, Orlando, Florida, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Blairsville, Pennsylvania, Massillon. Lots in Pennsylvania too. San Francisco,
Yeah.
California, Hurricane, West Virginia.
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Have you been there before?
Yeah. Been to Hurricane.
Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Parkersburg? Yep.
Nurk, Ohio.
Nurk.
Nurk,
Oh,
Ohio.
yeah, I know where that's at.
Oh, no.
Goshen, Indiana. Kimbolton, Ohio.
That actually might be my old coworker, Mona.
Okay.
Mona, if you're listening,
Give us a
Hi.
thumbs up.
maybe not. I don't know.
Just trying to see if there's anything in here that is South Shore, Kentucky. I don't think we've been in Kentucky before. I think that's our first Kentucky.
We still need to get a map.
Well, we had one. It
We
didn't
had
go
one,
well.
but
It
it
was
was-
so small you couldn't even like. We're like,
Really?
Yeah.
How small was it?
I'm talking
It was so small.
We need the big
Yeah, we
one
need
that
like a
rolls down like we
corkboard.
had in grade
Well, that's
school.
what this one was.
It was
Yeah.
corkboard.
This was a corkboard, but it was
Yeah.
only about this big, and
Yeah.
it had the whole world, but it had the states broken out by state. But you couldn't even see Ohio. It was so small. You're like,
We could even have one of those things from the old schools
Yeah,
where
we
they
should
pull
roll
them
it
down,
down.
and then
Yeah.
we can just have like little arrow sticky
Yeah.
note things that they have.
but I
in-
just want it to be able to pin
I
the
know.
state
You had to bring,
as well as
you had
the
to
country.
bring some of your
Oh,
bees, and we'd had to take the stingers out of them
Yeah, right.
and stick them in.
Yeah, because the push pins were bigger than the states were. They really were. It was crazy. It was crazy. But most of our downloads are in North America. 98% of our downloads are in North America, and then in Europe. But the other thing that I thought was fun, and again, I talk about this one specifically because when we live stream a regular church service, we get significantly less than this. We had 90 downloads in the last 30 days.
It's crazy.
Just in the last 30 days. In the last 7 days, it's been 22 downloads, and it probably would have been higher
Yeah,
if
would
our
have been
episode
higher.
would have been
Yeah,
out
well,
sooner.
way to go, Sid.
I think
I
it's
know,
about
right?
30 and
Guess how many downloads we've had all time?
417.
Too high.
What'd you say?
417.
225.
For a single episode? Is that what you
No,
said?
all
all
time.
together.
All time.
375.
Too high. You were too low.
350.
You're very close.
285.
350.
339.
Too low. You're very close.
285?
330.
299.
285?
It's higher.
310.
It's 346 downloads.
Ooh.
So we haven't been doing this a whole
whole
a whole year. I mean,
Yeah.
So-
Not yet.
so
When
Yeah.
did we start? In January?
I don't remember. for
Wonder
sure.
if we can reach
No.
500
It was in the
before
summer.
1 year. Was it in the summer?
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely
it was
didn't start this.
Really?
Yeah, it's we've. I would.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. I can tell you. Well, no, I can't. I would have to go back to YouTube.
No,
and
no,
tell
no.
you.
Well, wait. Well,
no.
we started.
It was
We didn't start right away on this platform.
Oh.
though.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So we're not taking into account any of the YouTube stuff that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were YouTube first and people were watching it there.
Yeah.
So if we were to take those plus these, we would probably be over 500.
Oh yeah.
And fun fact, YouTube is about to make their own podcast platform, which we'll be able to be on.
Really?
Hmm.
Huh.
Super excited about that.
Yeah, I seem to think it was like January, February.
too.
You think?
I think it was.
Okay.
We could-
Because I think
we
one
could
of
check
our
our-
I'll go
earlier,
back and
'cause I
look.
think one of
Yeah.
our earliest episodes was we had like the Easter special.
Yes.
We were talking
you're
about
right.
I
that.
think it was
So
February.
yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
Because I remember we all went out to eat and we had the conversation.
Yeah.
which
You're
I'm
right.
pretty sure that was winter,
You're right.
Yep. Yep.
maybe even around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah,
Time
I think
flies
after
when you're
first of the
having
year
fun.
we started it.
Yeah.
And we definitely have fun.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Dawn's rolling her eyes over there.
Fun is the word that we use, but normal people go, what
What?
in the
Psychotic.
world?
What's wrong with them people?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find.
Where's your crickets?
Yeah.
Cricket.
Got to insert them.
Cricket.
Cricket.
It is actually very amazing that if you search for us on Google, you find our podcast. Like, who would have thought?
Who would have
Our
thought?
tiny little church.
Yeah.
We're not going to play that. We don't need you to play it. We've already we know that's us. We know that's us. And the real crazy part is we actually only have 68 YouTube subscribers, so that tells you that we don't reach very far using
On YouTube.
specifically YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, episode 2, episode 1. 8 months.
8 months ago.
We streamed that 8 months ago. So in 2 months. But we had 48 views on that one, 40 views on one, 43, 82 on preparing for battle.
Really?
Yep, 91 on fear.
Wow. So that would kind of be like a download.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would have been somebody that's opened it and listened to it.
Yeah.
68 on Christ in the Community. Let's see.
Which these are all on
There's
our.
probably all them Civil War buffs on the preparing.
Probably.
For battle.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure
Yep.
it was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
all the Gettysburg people listening right now.
Mm. Yeah, so, I mean, anywhere from 18 to whatever that one big one was.
91.
So, 91.
91.
So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And then, add those numbers then to
Yeah.
what we currently have on
Yeah.
Buzzsprout. So that's a lot of listeners. So we're excited that we get to keep doing this every week.
Yes.
So, okay. Well, anybody have anything else, or ready to pray ourselves out? Let's pray for peace of mind because we're all crazy. Whose topic was that? Was that Nick's? Nick, you get to pray for us tonight.
All right. 2 in a row.
2 in a row. Yeah. Well, we got to stop letting that happen.
It's Roger next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord, we've asked you a lot of questions tonight, and I'm sure that all our listeners, they have plenty of questions for you on a daily basis. And we just hope that we are expanding people's minds, opening them up to your word. I think the more that we desire to know you, the more questions we ask, and the more you give us in return. So just always help us to find the right questions to be asking, and always help us to be patient in getting those answers back from you. I just pray that we can continue on with this podcast. It's been just a wonderful experience for all of us, and we thank you for that. I pray that everyone gets home this evening safely, and hopefully you will bless us and allow us to come back next week and do this again. Amen.
Amen.